August, and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get 105 degrees, high humidity, and wind. But you're not going to have as many storms as they get right now. I mean, I'll be shocked if they don't have something this weekend at Dynamic Discs open.
for Mr. Rusco out there. Yeah. Well, I'm going to call it DDO. Sorry, Jeremy.
Oh, dang.
But
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to episode 11 of the Players Meeting, a Win Dummies production. I'm your host, Lucas Deal. What up? I'm extremely excited for the show tonight. We're going to talk all about Champions Cup, our first major of the year, and all the drama that came with it. We'll break down the main storylines, take a look back on our picks from Champions Cup, and make our picks for the Dynamic Discs Open. Since we're talking the next tournament, the boys will also share the top 5 holes, the top 5 best holes at Champions Landing, Survivor League 2.0 in full swing, and I can't wait to share the results. Before I introduce the boys, if you haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the word Win Dummies. We would love to hear from you as well. Drop us a comment on the YouTube video so we know you're watching. Well, without further ado, here they are. And I got my boys with me. The one-time world champ, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty, and the step putt master himself, Mr. Ronnie Unruh. Fellas, how we feeling this evening?
I'm good. Just got done with the track meet. Got exactly 7 days as a track coach left and doing great.
Counting the days. That's when you know you're loving it.
Yeah. Sounds like it's about ready to be over. I'm good, man. Got a long week coming up. Playing DDO this week, so ready to do the show tonight and hopefully get a little practice in and play well this weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch you all week. So. Good luck to you, sir.
I'm sure. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll get some storms. It's Kansas in the beginning of May, so hopefully we're not dodging too many rough storms. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
You don't want to mess with what we had over the weekend, man. We had 5 holes to go, and the wind started picking up. We got the 4 holes to go, and it was the hardest wind I've ever played in. Branches the size of human beings were falling out of trees, smashing in the ground. It was a really dangerous situation. I ended up calling the entire round, canceling it because the forecast said that it was going to be a long line of thunderstorms coming in. So I just canceled it, got everybody out of there the best I could. And then I had to go and create layouts for similar holes that people played and enter that and figure scores by hand. It's been a real debacle. People are pissed off at me thinking that it wasn't fair the way I did it. It's exactly what the PDGA told me to do. Now I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks tracking people down, trying to get them their prizes. So I hope you get good weather, Ronnie.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really bad for you. It's and that's such a tough decision to make as a tournament director, right? I mean, you're almost in a no-win situation. You have to do what's safe for everybody and keep all our participants safe. But invariably, you're going to piss people off, or someone's going to not think it's fair, and you just put yourself in a place where it's impossible to make the right decision. But personally, I think the right decision was made.
I would make the same decision over again. Hindsight's always 20/20, obviously, but like somebody like Kevin Babbitt, he lost 3 birdies because of the commonality of the holes. He birdied the first 3 holes, and the back end of the open field didn't get to those holes, so we had to throw those out. And then Kevin and I I had a cabin at the lake, and Kevin and I went and hung out at the cabin and watched watch the Pro Tour, what we're going to talk about tonight. And I stepped outside and I'm like, dude, you're not going to believe this. What you talking about? And I said, it is perfect out here, man. So, I send everybody out of there, get everybody out safe, and the storms break up and everything's awesome. But had I said, okay, stay in your car, 30 minutes, we'll come back and try it again, who knows what would have happened. Tornado could have ripped through Tuttle Creek and taken us all. It was, I watched it pick a putter up off the ground and throw it.
Man.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, that's not good. Do what the PDGA says, and you did.
Did a bunch of extra work so I could send them some more money.
Exactly. And it sounded like a ton of work. You had to go in and do that all manually. So back to the old school, huh, Smitty?
No, I don't miss it. Let's do this. Let's do this show. We had good disc golf watch.
Yeah, let's jump in. What's poppin'? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? All right, and here we go. We had Champions Cup, our first major of the year, presented by Bushnell at Northwood. And what a course this was. Let's jump right into the action. FPO, and look at this. After round one, Silva Saarinen out to an early lead over a usual cast of characters. She shot a 10-13 rated opening round. Valerie Mondahano, Missy, Holland, Evelina, Kristen, and Owen all within 3 shots. And round one of the men. Would you believe it? Casey White jumps to the early lead. Dickerson and Antela right on his tail, just 1 back. Round 2. Rain delay is the story of the day, setting up a marathon Saturday for most of the field. The ladies got through about half of their round. Rachel Turton, Val, and the defending champ, Kristen Tatar, shared the lead at 4 under. After day 2, Salonen and Saarinen just 1 back. On the men's side, Casey White continues to play great. Takes a 3-shot lead into round 3. Joey Buckets moves into second. The non-defending Robinson brother shows up to try to defend his brother's title as he moves into third. Freddie Mesa and Andrew Presnell decide to throw their names in the mix in 5th place, just a handful of shots out of the lead. Round 3, Kristen Tatar was leading, but not so fast, my friend. Evelina shreds with a 10-28 rated 7 under round to hit the lead by 2 over Tatar. Owen and Turton 5 back. Saarinen 7 behind. Kenneth Blomroos will start the final day off 8 off the pace. And on the men's side, Casey White jumps out to a 6-shot lead, and midway through the round, he splits his finger on a shot only to go sideways the last 10 holes. A full cast of characters took advantage of White's mishaps to give themselves a shot on Major Sunday. Presnell takes the lead. Robinson Buckets is 1 back. From 4th to 10th, we saw the Sharks ready to attack should the leaders not be able to get it done. And take a look at all those just swimming, those Sharks that have been there and done that. And round 4, the women, while it wasn't always pretty, Evelina never gave up the lead and finished it off by laying up for the 1-stroke win on 18. Owen finishes tied for second and was the only American in the top 6. Hannah absolutely shredded and hit a dramatic 33-foot uphill eagle putt at the last hole to apply maximum pressure on Salonen, but Salonen still got it done. Silva Saarinen winds up 4th. Kristen Tatar struggles to a 5th place finish, and Turton in 6th. Tatar will go ahead and end up going home after this one. Saarinen and Turton both earn Disc Golf Pro Tour cards with their top 10 finishes. So congratulations, ladies. And on the men's side, the final round was a nail biter. Prez loses his only putting putter he has on hole 5. His caddy has to run all the way to the car to get another putter for him, but that didn't slow him down. Antela, Robinson, Buckets, and Rick All were circling around, but Prez stayed consistent. He birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes to take the tournament down by 4 strokes, and maybe an unlikely winner. But congratulations to Andrew Presnell for his first major victory. Whoa, what a weekend and what a course. Playing 4 rounds at Northwood. Oh, it was awesome. Did this course level the playing field, Ronnie?
Yeah, man. I mean, Northwood is hard. I mean, to heck with Guantanamo Bay, boy. We start putting prisoners on Northwood, and they'll sing like canaries. That place is just, I mean, it's arguably the hardest disc golf course in the world, and we got to watch the best players in the world attack it for 4 days, and it beat up some of the best players we've ever seen, and then of course you saw what we ended up with was a surprise winner. I mean, in a lot of respects with Prez. And yeah, I personally loved watching it for 4 days.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was fun to watch. It's I like WR Jackson better. I think that's a better course for the major where it used to be, but they did what they had to do with the infestation on the trees. And I think the plan is to get it back there to WR Jackson or somewhere along the International Disc Golf Center. But yeah, dude, this place, it's tough. And I think some of it might've been too tough, honestly. A few of the holes.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think, Smitty, some of these holes just played too hard?
I feel like 12 and 18 are hard, really hard, but also if you throw good shots, you're going to score on them. I thought hole 14 was nearly impossible. I watched Rick throw 2 shots in the crap on the left. One of them we didn't even see the shot, and he walked away with the same score as somebody who was dead square in the middle of the fairway. They have to lace the tee shot, and then they have to lace the second drive, and they come up to this narrowing fairway that's just Plinko City. If that fairway is cleaned up a little bit, just the end of it, I think you have the most amazing disc golf hole ever, maybe. But there's a lot of luck factors involved in it right now.
Yeah, dude, it's the last 300 feet. The trees are so scattered. It's just impossible. I mean, I think if they just move that basket 250 feet closer and play the same tee, you have the best par 4 on tour, maybe. But where it is now, I mean, you look even in the first round, you saw a couple of guys really get it a long ways down there, and you almost can't even putt. The trees are so scattered. You can't even throw a jump putt from 100 feet because there's no real line to get it through. So I did look up some stats, and I got a couple of stats that kind of back up what you're saying. Hole 18 only averaged about 4/10 over par. A lot of birdies on that hole, but there was 9 scores of 8 or more. Hole 12, it averaged 5.94. So it averaged almost a full stroke over par, which it has historically. Only a couple of birdies is the deal with it there. Obviously some big numbers. Eagle took a 10 on that hole. And there was a lot of scores, 13 scores of 8 or more on that hole through the week. But I think it's fair. I'm with you. I think if the tee shots maybe a little bit poker hope, but the hole gets really fair after that if you throw good shots. The hole 14 averaged almost 6 shots for the males and 26 scores of 8 or more. That's just it's just, I won't call it unfair, but it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that hole really down at the end? It just seems like it really gets to a poke and hope situation, and you're just doing as much as you can just to get through. There's no real defined line. Yeah. Those stats tell a big story there. And let's talk about some of the casual relief that they had to do because of the rain. What did you think about some of the casual relief to a drop zone? I thought that was a little interesting. Ronnie, what do you think of that?
This is another scenario that's not too dissimilar to what Smitty had to endure, right? The tournament directors have to make a decision. They got to get this golf tournament in. They did what they felt was probably in the best interest of safety. But on hole 16, there was a small area of casual relief that you had to return to a drop zone 120 feet behind where you went in. I saw in the first round, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Paul Macbeth actually cleared the relief area, putted, it rolled back into the into the relief area, and then he had to retreat all the way back to the middle of the fairway to throw his third from 125 or 30 feet. And that's just, gosh, just a little bit unfair. It's unlucky for sure, but it's a little bit unfair. Some of the stuff they had to do on Sunday, making some of those relief areas, I get it. They got a gully washer in there on Saturday, and they had to do something, right? They had to do something to try to keep the players safe and not try to go into rushing water to have a 6 foot closer putt or something like that. And some silly person would have done it. So that one I didn't see much of a problem with. But the one on 16 for all week, well, that one was probably not the way I would have done it if I was the TD.
I think that's always there. I was talking to Kevin, and he said that's always been some sort of a relief area because it's just super steep right there. And I forget who it was, but somebody threw in there and just abandoned their lie and re-threw it versus going back and taking the drop. I think it might have been Valerie Mondahano did that on the final day. So what about the hole that goes over the little pond where they put the rope and then the water came up and the OB line was in the water, and Rachel, how do you say it, Turton?
Yeah.
Turton. She was in the water, and I couldn't believe she did it, but she reached down and put a mini down in the water, but then held it down with her hand so she'd know where it was. I think I would have just not put a mini down, but yeah. So that was an interesting thing where they were throwing in the water but still being safe because they were beyond the rope.
It made for some goofy stuff in places, but I tell you what, man, I commend them for getting all 4 rounds in because on Thursday I didn't think that was possible because we saw what the forecast was for Friday and Saturday, and I just didn't think there was any way that they were going to get 72 holes in, and they did it, and they caught all the way back up, which was impressive. They did what they had to do to get the event in, so I commend them for that.
Could you imagine being those dudes that played 34 holes in one day out there?
Yeah. 34
brutal holes. That would have been a lot of disc golf, man.
Yeah, mentally taxing holes. Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting they were still able to reshuffle the cards for the third round.
Yeah, and
I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen.
I thought they were going to have to cut one for sure. So it's very big kudos to them, but kudos to the players for making that happen too, because that was not fun. It couldn't have been fun for any of them. The weather was the story, right? That really made things a little crazy. My question to you, Smitty, is it time to start thinking about moving events away from the Midwest and the plains in the springtime? Because this happens.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. I mean, you could move to the fall. Disc golf in the Midwest is beautiful in the fall when it's sweater season. You can move it to August, and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get 105 degrees, high humidity, and wind. But you're not going to have as many storms as they get right now. I mean, I'll be shocked if they don't have something this weekend at Dynamic Discs open.
for Mr. Rusco out there. Yeah. Well, I'm going to call it DDO. Sorry, Jeremy.
Dang.
But I'm hoping we don't. They've moved this. This has been traditionally like a June event. Isn't that right? Now they've moved it up into May.
I'm not sure.
The first of May, I've been a weather fanatic my whole life. The first week in May is literally the peak of tornado season in the plains. So we're rolling the dice. There is some storms in the forecast this week. I hope it goes well. But I mean, you're really just it's almost impossible in our part of the country to go a whole week with no active weather at this time of year. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often.
And, this year they've really rearrange the tour to try to allow for a little flow getting across the country, which is they have to do that.
Sure.
So I don't know what that means for. I'm not 100% familiar with the climate in all these other regions of the country, what their worst times are, but yeah, I definitely think it's something they could look at to preserve things like this. And once again, if we had two venues, might not be as big of a deal.
It's fair.
Yep.
Might not be as much fun though either.
Yeah, that was grueling for the ladies just as much. I think those holes that Ronnie was talking about played even tougher for the ladies. So
No
very,
way.
very.
They were so much shorter. Those chicks, every single one of them was eagling or birdieing 18. That was
Well,
a joke.
18 was really easy for them. 12 actually wasn't too bad for them either, but 14 they averaged almost 6.25. Even on a hole that was 250 feet or 300 feet shorter, they still had to play the same last 300 feet, and it really mangled folks. There was a lot of really, really big numbers. I didn't even count them. There were so many.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the ladies. Smitty, after this tournament, are the Europeans miles ahead at this point?
Currently, they're the top throwers in the game for sure. Tatar's obviously still my pick for the best female. But yeah, dude, what was there, 5 or 6 of them in the top 10?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they're fantastic, and we've said for a long time if Evelina's making putts, she's as good as Tatar. And what about Henna clutching up and banging a big putt on the last hole to actually put a little pressure on Evelina as she finished up? So
that's a huge putt.
That's it. If we have other women playing well, it's going to make the women's division so much more fun to watch. So,
yeah, for sure. And Henna's, and we've talked about this numerous times. Henna is maybe my favorite player to watch throw a frisbee in that division. She's unbelievable tee to green, and she just struggles so mightily on the putting green that at times it's sad to watch. And to see what she did on that back nine, the final round, making a couple of circles edge, and then when she absolutely had to have an eagle on 18, she makes one from 33 feet right in the middle. And yeah, but to your point, yeah, I mean, and you got Silva Saarinen who popped up the week before. She looks like she's the real deal, dude. She looks like Tatar 2.0.
Her putt's nasty. She threw a few worm burners during that last round that were a little bit shocking, but around the green, man, she was great. And we can't forget about Annika Stein. She wasn't here, but she's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Heide Line is
Rachel Turton here too.
Shout out to our boy Ed Root, who caught Heide's ace on number 11 and got it on coverage on DGPT, or on the DGN. So shout out to him.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a sweet ace.
Yeah, well, look at all the Americans that missed the cut. There's some some of our bigger names, in there. Paige Pierce,
Paige Shue.
Yeah, the Pages. Haley King, Jessica Weiss, Cat Macho.
Cat deuced out.
Cat Macho Man Cat, not Cat.
Not pregnant Cat.
No, well, we don't know, but Macho Man Cat.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Fair enough. But yeah,
Catherine, not Katrina. How about we go with that?
Cat merch. We'll just say the little full name. Cat merch. She deuced out pretty early.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys what you thought about that. Cat leaves. It was in the middle of the second round. She was already 17 over par. I assume it was at the weather delay. She just said, "To hell with it. Not worth going back." And then Maria Oliva DNF too. Didn't come back for the third round. So I mean, I get it. I understand it wasn't ideal situation, but to me, that's just not a very professional thing to do. But I guess that's just my I wanted to know your opinion. That's certainly mine.
Oh, I'm with you. They're there. They should be playing it. Their sponsors would love to see them in there. I mean, what if one of them throws in an ace like Heidi did? That would be great, for them, their brand, to have this phenomenal shot caught on video and be shared all over. But yeah, and I mean, it wasn't too long ago Maria left her Frisbees at home, so she couldn't play, and now she's dropping out. And I'm just going to be honest. I don't really care. I don't care if she plays.
She hasn't made much of a stir this year other than silly things like leaving her bag and leaving a tournament early. I will say Kat Merch made a post shortly after she left and just said she just wasn't feeling it. So I'm kind of with you, Ronnie. I know that's one of your biggest pet peeves is someone not sticking it out, especially when they're paid to be there, right? A lot of them are paid professionals. You can't do that. It just looks bad. I don't love it. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, let's go to the men's side. You got Eagle. Eagle would have loved to peace out. Guarantee you. Right? Dude shot double digits over par. Had no shot at making the cut. Probably wishes that he would have waited a week or two to come back. Probably jumped the gun a little bit. And to get thrown right into the fires of feature card first round. I don't care how good you are, how many rounds you've played on coverage. That had to be a little nerve-wracking for the dude.
Yeah, but to your point, professional in the way he did it, right? He was trying all the way through, never took his foot off the gas. It just didn't have it, dude. It's a hard golf course. He wasn't sharp. Probably came back a week too early, but he went out there to be a professional, to support his sponsors, to give the fans a little bit of excitement. And, he got his money was worth, though. 26 over par for the week, 26. And here, you wonder how hard the golf course was. 26 over par, average 990. That's how hard Northwood is.
Yeah, but I think it's good for him too. He beat in some of his discs, getting him really worn in for the season.
Well, he had he released a really good vlog. It was either Sunday or something. I watched it today, and he was talking about how it was important for him to get to lower altitude to throw his discs, to really see how they fly, because he's only thrown them in Colorado. So, I mean, he had an idea what they would do, and that he's been playing lots of practice rounds, but practice rounds are so much different than scoring rounds. So, I think he's going to come out. The OTB Open is going to be his next one. I wouldn't be surprised if Bull Smitty doesn't take him as his sleeper pick.
Hey, okay. All right. Well, let's talk more of the man side. I think there's a few storylines that we really need to get into. The first one being the champion, first major victory, Andrew Presnell. Is he the biggest upset winner in recent major history, Ronnie?
I can't remember another one. I'm sure I'm forgetting. I think Nate Doss's first ever win above a B tier was Worlds, if I remember that stat correctly. So, I mean, I guess maybe Doss would be kind of in the mix his first time around at World Championships. But, I mean, Prez has been out there doing it for a long time. And I don't know that you'll find anybody that wasn't happy to see Prez win that golf tournament.
Yeah.
As one of the true grinders out there, the dude that'll just go play any event, anywhere, anytime. And, I mean, I think he'd only won 11 A tiers, and I know he won one Silver Series in Missouri last year at Columbia at Harmony Benz. So he'd never won an Elite Series event, never been top 20 in a professional major before, and he goes out there and wins the golf tournament by 4. So
really turned it on the final 4 holes to make sure that no one was close.
And that dude has a very interesting game. He's kind of like James Conrad in a way, where You see him throwing, you know it's Andrew Presnell. You see him putt, you know it's Andrew Presnell. It's so much different than everybody else's. I don't know if I saw a single sidearm out of there, which is pretty amazing in those woods. But that dude was believing in himself and just drilling line after line after line. It was amazing, man. That putt he made coming down the stretch on 16, that was a scary putt.
Yeah.
Straddle around that tree, heart. So,
It might have been the biggest shot of the golf tournament.
It was very big.
It was shot of the day on Disc Golf Network, and I agree. It was awesome.
Yeah, the dude's great. Obviously, we've known about him for a long time. Him from being, our part of the country. But yeah, super, super excited for Prez. And, maybe it shouldn't have caught us all by surprise. I had someone tell me that it was mental fortitude that he thought was kind of one of the biggest factors. And, the grinder that Prez is. I mean, looking back, maybe we should have saw it coming, right? Maybe not win the golf tournament, but to be in contention for sure. And you put yourself in contention to one of the majors, you got a chance to win. So maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise.
Let's back it up a few more holes. How about carrying only one putter that you putt with and throwing the dang thing in the river?
Yeah.
Early in the round, losing your go-to and only putter. Your caddy has to run back and get another one out of the car, and then you win the golf tournament with your backup putter.
Yeah.
And to not be fazed by it, that's crazy.
What kind of weirdo only has one putter?
There's someone here.
Lucas, how many putters do you carry?
I carry 2.
I have 4 different ones that I carry for different scenarios. And most people call me a weirdo for that. And I'll wear it. I'll wear that badge, I guess. But one putter, I don't even understand that.
Well, he had other putters, but only one putting putter.
Yeah.
His
But I mean, like, so when he goes to warm up, just throw one putt and go get it out of the basket every time.
That's what I do. I have a in the circle putter and an outside the circle putter. So I'm got weirdo
4,
too.
I've got 4 putters that I use in, depending on the scenario. And I've got a wasp that'll circle it as the 5th putter on windy days.
Okay.
One putter blows my mind.
It's insane. Let's also talk about. I want to just get into this right now because we all know that I picked Casey White as my shine, and boy did he shine through 2 rounds. And it was really unfortunate what happened. Not just because I picked him, but because he was leading by 5. He looked unstoppable before he cut his finger. Man, #Fingergate. He falls down to tied for 14th at the end. Smitty, what'd you think about Casey's performance and kind of how unfortunate that was to have that happen to him?
Yeah, it absolutely sucked for him. And as much crap as I was laying on you, I was actually rooting for the dude to win. I thought that would have been, if he pulls it off, that's a bigger upset than Perez for sure. Mm-hmm. And I just played an event just a few weeks ago with Ronnie, and I had the smallest cut ever on my finger. Wasn't big, but it was just a little cut, and I could not hit a line, throw a disc. Every time I was the same thing as Casey. Every time I'd throw, I'd look at my dang finger, and it got to the point where my body wouldn't even let me keep that finger on the disc. I would try to throw, and my pointer finger would come off, and then I had no control where my disc was going, and there's more trees on hole 14 than the entire golf course I played.
Yeah. So. In fact, so the one good thing that came out of the rain delay was we got disc golf from 6:30 in the morning until dark on Saturday. And I had a disc golf tournament I played that was a 3.5 hour drive. So I got to see a whole lot of it. And the guys I was watching it with that traveled to the tournament with me, when that happened to Casey, I said, man, this just happened to Smitty a couple weeks ago. and that dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when it happened to him. So I was really fearful when I first saw him look at that finger, and Earhart had said that it didn't look good. I was like, oh man, he might try to act like it's not a big deal, but I knew immediately that was probably going to be a serious problem.
Yeah, and the whole, as soon as you tape it, that's another issue. Like tape, you're constantly, it gets caught, you got to retape it, you got to fix it. The super glue, I think the thing was it wasn't getting a chance to dry. But I've had that before too, where I super glue it, I go to play, and 2 throws in, the super glue catches on the disc and rips the super glue and the cut back open. So yeah, it's just a pain, man.
Yeah. I think when I heard Earhart say that Casey had mentioned cutting away some of the skin because it was flapping, that's when I knew, dang, that's a pretty deep cut.
Yeah, you're right. It's so unfortunate, man, because he was absolutely shredding. He was the best player by a long ways to that point in the golf tournament, and who knows what would have happened. Maybe some pressure would have set in at some point anyway. It's very possible that you combine that with look at the leaderboard and it's oh my God, I'm up by 6 at a major. And we've only got less than 36 holes to play. I'm sure that factored in as well. And then once it turned sideways on him, it just snowballed on that Saturday. And to his credit, he fought back big time on Sunday. I mean, he kind of threw himself in the mix a little bit to only, kind of have a poor finish. So, but kudos to him. I mean, he played, it was a great week. It's his best finish ever at a major. It's just it kind of sucked the way it went down for him, because I'm pretty sure there was a large segment of the disc golf community that was really pulling for Casey White. And then we still got Andrew Presnell. So it was we got a pretty good alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I liked that there was a winner that was very unexpected. Either way, Casey White being up there was very unexpected, but hey, we still had Andrew Presnell just as unexpected, especially after 11 years.
And we had the Sharks circling, dude. They could smell the blood in the water. Oh, it was so much fun.
It was good, man.
Rick was great. Every time he'd catch him, though, he would do something stupid. Yeah. Every single time he'd catch up, and then he would go OB, and he'd catch up, and he'd throw it in the crap, and it
was like a force field. Every time one of them Sharks would jump up to Prez or White when he was leading, they would get up there, and then they'd fall right back down. And
Ricky did some dumb plays. He just gets. I know he reminds me of Keenan in a lot of ways, where he really is just so ultra aggressive, and sometimes that can really, really bite him. But of course, it can really, really help him. But would you say Ricky is back, Smitty? Is he back?
I hope. No, yeah. I mean, he's been one of these top dogs at all these tournaments the last few weeks. So, yeah, I think he's there. He'll have a breakthrough pretty soon. And I'm just going to say Nate Doss is completely wrong saying that Rick needs to control his emotions, because that's not Rick, man. Rick lives in the moment. That's why people love Rick. When he makes a putt, he did one of those when he made a big putt on that basket with little rocks around it. And that's when Doss says Rick needs to control. No way. Rick needs to run with that and attack and go, because that's Rick.
Well, how it's so contradictory to exactly what was said in the opposite at chess.com. Ricky makes that huge putt on 17 to really throw all the pressure in the world on Barella, and he's jumping up in the air and showing all that emotion. And then it was great, right? And you're right. Ricky is an emotional player. He feeds off the crowd. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of crowd there, but he kind of rides those emotions, and he needs that. I mean, like you and I were talking. I mean, Doss is, he's from California. That's where the Raptor legs were born. That's who Ricky is. And that's why so many people love Ricky. That's why I love Ricky. He's that guy. He's fun to watch.
Let's not forget about AB and GB. Those guys, they were quiet.
Nancy White for this.
They were quiet all weekend, but where did they finish, Ronnie?
Top 10. Quiet.
Yeah.
Gannon kind of went shredding on Sunday, which good for him. I think he was 5 or 6 under on Sunday. And AB was just like, 2 or 3 under every round. Wasn't really ever threatening to win the golf tournament. But, yeah, you look up and them kids are tied 10th every week. No, every week.
Yeah, they've yet to miss it.
And then another one of our favorites, Vinny, mixing it up, part of it, right there, top 5.
Still hurt.
He threw some flicks. He threw a couple nice ones. So.
And then Paul. Another top 10 for Paul.
He was kind of like Rick, though, man. Every time he would get moving, something bad would derail him, and he'd have to fight back. Yep. Something bad would derail him, and he'd fight back. But, yeah, I mean, he was fantastic. And this is a good golf course for P. McBee because that dude can control his lines so well most of the time.
He's like this close, man. You kind of feel like he's like this close. And maybe it's, he's had a little success in Emporia.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the week.
It was fun watching that last round, or the third round, I guess, with Kevin Babbitt, who's a disc golfer that I've looked up to since I ever started playing. He was the man way back then. And to watch him cheer for Paul, I mean, that dude was such a fanboy. It was so awesome to watch him just, go on, Paul! God dang it, Paul! So it was fun, man. We just had this little cabin and we were just watching it on this little bitty tablet.
That sounds fun as hell.
It was fun.
So, all right. Yeah. Well, great weekend. Good conversation. Let's move in to our next segment, which is Top 5. And this week, we are going to do Top 5 holes at Champions Landing, which, of course, used to be Emporia Country Club. They've made some tweaks to some of the holes. I don't know if you all saw those tweaks when you sent your submissions in, but Ronnie sent me what his top 5 and what he thought Smitty's was, and Smitty did the same for Ronnie. And because there's only 18 holes, we are only going to count points for direct hits. They have to have the hole, and if it was number 5, number 4, number 3, it's got to be a direct hit on that number. Who won last time? It was a tie, if I remember correctly. Yes?
I think it's still Smitty's turn. Go ahead,
all right, buddy. Smitty, do your thing.
Well, I tell you, I made my picks on the holes that Landon and I are going up Saturday to watch. So I made my picks for the holes that I'm going to make sure I get Landon's 6'8" tall butt out there to watch, because he's never seen these guys throw. So this is going to be, I can't wait to watch his jaw just go.
No comprehension. I'm sure he's seen it on TV, but it's not the same thing.
It's going to be so good. So first hole I went with, my number 5 on my list, hole number 7. Hole 7 is, you dirty dang dog.
Direct hit already.
Hole 7 is got to hit that little tight gap through those 2 cedar trees, clear the little hump. Down the hill, there's a little strip of OB now. It looks like it goes all the way across the fairway. So I don't know if that's going to play much for these guys. I think they'll probably throw over it. But just a fantastic 2-shot hole. Throw it down there, get yourself into a good spot, pitch up. A lot of times it's an elevated basket on that hole, I believe. But I love the hole down and then back up a little bit.
Yeah, great golf hole. I had it for you at number 5.
Of course you did.
It's a cool hole. The only thing it would scare the hell out of me and we'll have to play it at Worlds this year, but that tight gap right there off that tee, ooh, man, that's a narrow gap. Not looking forward to that one.
A few years ago when they did that Raz round, there was dudes sitting up in those trees razzing them as they threw there.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do. You're taking your life hands if you do that.
A little bit of this.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, number 5 for me. While the hole isn't super awesome, I do like the hole, but it's more the atmosphere surrounding the hole. I got hole number 1 as my 5th best hole. Super long par 5. You got the road on the right. You got the OB on the left. You got all the fans in the stands and down the left fairway. Plus that green's pretty cool too. But yeah, super, super cool. So I've got number 1 as my 5th best hole.
I didn't put it on my list for you. I thought about it, but I didn't put it on my list. I just think it's just a long hole.
Yeah, I mean it's super long. I don't want to play it at 1,200 feet. I'll be honest, but having all the fans back there, your walk-up music that you do at the DDO, and the whole atmosphere surrounding the hole is the reason why it made my list.
Yeah,
Landon and I will be there.
Figured you probably might. Get him on the fairway and let him watch how far those things are going.
We're going to go so far down there when AB gets ready to throw, and
he'll still throw it past you.
Can't wait.
All right, number 4, I've got hole number 9. The gap shot out to the right hand to the 90-degree right hole. Super awesome 2-shot par 4. You don't have to be able to throw it 10 miles to be able to score on that hole, but you better be able to throw it straight and have a little bend on it. So I think that's a really, really good 2-shotter.
I didn't put it on my list for you, but I did put it on my list for me. We'll get to it later. I agree with you. It is a beautiful. I see that smirk, you son of a gun. Put it on there for me, didn't you? I think it's a fantastic hole. Hitting that gap and, like you say, turning right, and then just because you get that gap, you're not home free. You got to throw another right bender, a roller, or a flick or something to get there. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. My number 4, hole 5, 675-foot par 4. Crazy hole. I think that people like us that can't go 600 feet, the farther we throw it, actually a little bit harder the approach is, because if we get in the middle, we have all the trees in the way. It really cuts that angle off. Whereas if we're back from the trees, we can throw more of a penetrating shot. So the ideal is to get one side or the other, not in the middle, but it's always windy and that fairway is narrow as can be down by the basket. Yeah.
All the way to the pin. Yeah, it's a great hole. Yeah, it's one of the few holes out there where guys like you and I can probably score on a little bit, almost as well as the professionals, right? Because 350, 380 off the tee kind of plays really well there, leaves you the both way shot. So yeah, 5 is a really cool hole.
Yeah, I saw Drew throw it all the way to the ladies' pin one time. It was nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, my hole 3 was your 4th hole, hole 9. All the same reasons: gap shot, up the hill, turning right, visions of Parker Welk jumping through that tree.
Yeah. That and well, I unfortunately, when I think of that hole, I tend to have bad memories. Kona Panis 6-putt that green a few years ago. So every time I actually pass that pin, a lot of the time, every time I go to St. Louis, I drive right past that pin on the interstate, and it's the only thing I think about every time I go by it.
You're mean.
I'm so hard to watch. It's so hard to. It was so hard to watch. All right, my number 3. Talk about a hole with a memorable shot for me. I saw a guy throw a tee shot on this hole in the World Championships a couple years ago that went 100 feet farther than any other shot I've ever seen on that hole. Hole number 17. We watched that shot from Anthony Barella that went seemed like it never ended. It went so far the cameraman couldn't even see where it finished, which was absolutely bonkers. But that's another really, really good 2-shotter. You can play short and try to take the shot over the out of bounds. You can try to push it all as far down there as you can and maybe have a little cleaner look. But and then, another memorable shot from that World Championships, Paul making the 75, 80 footer that essentially won the golf tournament for him in the end. It got him into the playoff and so many memorable things that went down on that hole. I love hole 17.
Paul's second shot on that hole was amazing as well. Because he had
to even get it to that point.
Yeah.
Sure.
He had to go low flexor over the OB the whole way. So 17 made my list too, as you probably guessed. And I also mentioned AB's shot that is the longest disc golf shot I've ever seen in my entire life. It was incredible. Crazy. And I mentioned Paul's putt, but it didn't make it. And it'll be on my list a little bit later.
Yeah, I had it on there, but I think I'm going to get it in the wrong spot.
Good.
My number 2, how can you not have it? It's the signature hole on the golf course, in most people's opinion. The island hole. It's iconic in our sport. Hole number 16.
I'm with you. Same spot. Did you nail me?
I think I might have got you then if you've got it in. I'm sorry. I looked at yours and not mine. I've got hole 8 in the number 2
I was going to say, I was looking at my stuff. I'm like, that's not what I had.
Let's rewind. Let's rewind that.
Let's leave it. We'll leave
it. You dirty dog.
I actually had number 16 as the number 1 for all those reasons. They were so close. But I had hole 8 as my number 2. I think it's one of the best par 5s that we have in our sport. It's a true 3-shotter unless you're Anthony Morello. Some of the really, really, really long guys can get there in 2, but for everybody else, it's a 3-shotter, and that third shot is pretty hard for most people. The tee shot's hard, the second shot's hard. You have a basket that's barely inside the circle from out of bounds. I absolutely love hole 8, and that one has been played for a long time in one iteration or another from one tee spot or another, and it's a classic hole out there at the landing.
I knew you were going to have it on your list, but I didn't think you're going to have it that low. So I had it on there for you, but not in the correct slot. Then obviously, you dirty rotten dog, you got me on my number 2, hole 16. I like you said, it's if you're going to make a disc golf calendar, that hole's making it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And so many memories on that hole too, right? You got the ace. It's been won. Paul won a world championship on that one. Ricky with the
drop zone.
With the drop zone back-to-back years, it's one of the iconic holes in our sport.
Yeah, it's great. And then my number 1, is it my turn or is it your turn? It's my turn.
Your turn.
I went hole 17 as my favorite hole on the course. Once again, just because it's as good as a 2-shot hole gets. It's so awesome. And so many great memories from the Dynamic Disc Open or Glass Blown Open have happened on that hole, like all the ones that we mentioned. So, and I like it better now that they have the Mando that's been in play the last, 5 or 6 years, because originally there was no Mando and they would just mash massive hyzers out there. So playing up the gut, right side or left side of the tree with the OB on the left, that is woo.
And which makes AB's shot all the cooler, because it was not just far, but it was a technical shot.
And it was 11 feet off the ground the whole way at maximum height. And it was sick. I mean, that disc went 550 feet up that hill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the single most unbelievable shot I've ever seen, even surpassing James Conrad holy shot.
Probably not if you would have saw that live.
Fair, but there are a lot of people that can throw a putter in from 250 feet. Maybe not in that situation, but I don't know of anybody else that can throw the shot that Anthony Morella shot through.
Fair enough.
All right, boys, let's look at the scores here. So first of all, Smitty chose for you, Ronnie. He said hole 8 at number 5, hole 4, hole 14, hole 17, and then he got hole 16. And then for you, Smitty, Ronnie said hole 7, nailed it. Hole 9, hole 17, hole 16, which he nailed, and hole 8.
You want to know the only reason why hole 14 is not on my list? Because that is a fantastic hole. Another hole with multiple memorable shots. But the last time I played Glass Blown Open, I took a 9 on that hole, so I don't ever want to see that hole again.
I'm excited to see if this new configuration on 18 makes our knock something off our list. If guys can get it in 3, or have putts for 3, I think we're gonna like it.
I mean, it looks like a risk-reward par 5, and we've talked about those numerous times. How much those really excite us. Something that you can make 5, you can make 3 or 7 on. That makes for a fun hole.
For sure.
Can't wait.
Ready.
All right. Yeah, we are Dynamic Disc Open this week. We're going to talk more about it here in just a second. But first, we're going to move into our next segment,
DDO.
which is dun, 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 Wheel of Debate.
Who won last week?
So last week, after one single vote was cast, Smitty is victorious with his debate. So, what would be cool is if, I don't know, y'all decided to vote. We see a lot of good comments. Thanks for commenting. But, these guys are doing this, working their tails off to try to get a vote. No one's voting for them. Unless Smitty votes for himself, that's the only reason we got 2 one week. So thanks, Greg, for continuing to vote. Really appreciate that. So just so everyone is aware that may not be aware, the way Wheel of Debate works is we are going to spin a wheel. And once we spin that wheel, it's got a list of different topics that these boys will debate on the spot. Because Smitty won last week, he will then also get a second wheel that will say pro or con. And that will be the pro side of the debate or the con side of the debate. And he must then debate whatever that is. And then Ronnie gets the counter argument. And you at home or at work or wherever you're listening to this in your car, you need to pull over, cast your vote on who wins. All right. So here we go. Let's see what we are going to debate tonight. Oh, the greatest player of all time in the sport of disc golf. We are going to do no spin for this one. It's just whoever you think, and you have to plead your case, because I don't think you guys are going to choose the same person. And if Smitty chooses someone that you wanted, Ronnie, you can't choose the same one.
Whoever Smitty's taken, I got a pretty good counter argument.
All right. Perfect. Let's get 60 seconds on the clock. All right, Smitty, 60 seconds is on the clock for you to tell us who is the greatest. We've already done FPO, so the greatest MPO player of all time. Are you ready, sir?
Oh, yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, get it.
Without a doubt in my mind, the single greatest player of all time is not the person my co-host is going to say. It's not Ken Climo. Get real, Ronnie. We all know that it's Paul Macbeth. Paul Macbeth has single-handedly put disc golf on the map outside of the disc golf community. This dude has pulled in people from all sorts of different walks of life. He's won major after major. He's turned disc golf from a hippie sport into professional sport. Players have started taking it seriously because of this man. And you and I both know every weekend we're tuning in to say, is Paul back? We're watching for Paul. Beast mode, baby. We've got the putt we already brought up on 17 at Worlds. We have the putt at USDGC on hole 17. This man is, without a doubt, the GOAT.
Oh, man. When you're spelling something in your debate, it kind of makes me want to vote for you. Woo! All right, Ronnie, that was a good one by Smitty. Let's see if you can bring it home. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready, sir?
I am.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, hit it.
All I'm going to do is turn my co-host points right back around on him. First of all, beast mode. How about the champ, right? How about the champ? King Climo is the greatest player of all time. 12 world championships, the most ever. 18 professional majors, the most ever. And oh, by the way, did that when we didn't have 4 cracks a year, right? King Climo, while he might not have all these memorable shots for you, it's because they didn't have the media coverage that Paul Macbeth has now. Think of how big King Climo would have been had we got to see him on Disc Golf Network every week. He's the champ. He's the GOAT. This isn't even an argument. Sorry, Paul.
This was good. I thought you both slayed this week. Please, everyone, you have got to vote because that was a really, really good debate. Now, I do want to hear what you fellas really think. Were you actually really passionate about those two players? Did you actually pick the side that you really wanted, or is it actually different?
I did. He didn't.
I'm torn, right? I mean, here's the deal. They're clearly the 2 greatest players of all time. And there's no, I don't think there is a debate. I tend to lean to the Paul side. Paul is doing it against so much of a deeper field, and the field only gets deeper, where Kenny just didn't have quite as much competition. I mean, he had Barry Schultz and he had a whole slew of great players, but they were sporadic. They had their own little mini eras, and it wasn't that way. The sport has just evolved. It's not the same sport it was when Kenny won 12 world championships and like 9 in a row, right? So it's really close. I tend to lean to Paul.
We're not ever going to see 12 world titles again, I don't believe, for all the reasons that you just stated. I mean, what's Paul got? 7, 5, 6?
6.
Yeah, 6 times. And he may not get another because the field is just so fantastic, right? But like Ronnie said, you can't pick one or the other as the single greatest. 2 different eras, 2 different, competitors, but both dominating in their own era. And no doubt about, like Ronnie said, they are the 2 greatest players that we have seen so far. I do think we have a few young guys here, though, that are ready to potentially do it, man. Be something special.
Big shoes, huge shoes, seemingly unfillable shoes.
Yep.
But rooting for it for sure.
I'm ready to watch it. I'm ready to watch it.
Oh yeah, and the coverage is only getting better and better each year. The talent pool's only getting better and better and better each year. So yeah, there's going to be battles and battles and battles. Great debate, fellas. Honestly, that was probably one of the best we've seen. Thought you both made really, really good points. We really need some votes, so please let us know who you thought won. But we're going to jump into our next segment, which is weekly picks. All right. Let's jump into this. What a week. What a week for our picks. Let's see how we did. We had a stink here. Ronnie chose Gannon. Smitty chose AB, and I chose Ezra Aderhold, who then broke the course record the third round. That devil.
You had it.
If he didn't remember how to play disc golf the last couple rounds, I was going to be great. But it looks like based off where their average finish is, Smitty's going to get that green check mark, even though AB and Gannon tied for 10th. Ronnie got the yellow, and I really wasn't that far off with Ezra, but still got the red. Smitty, tell me how those stats broke down.
Man, how incredible is it that this dude finishes 10th place and wins stink of the week, right? That's ridiculous. Gannon averaged fourth place up to this point. He finished what did he finish? Seventh. He and AB both tied. No, 10th. What am I looking at here? Anyhow, what am I looking at?
Oh, do we have some controversy?
Nah, AB's would have been a little bit higher. I looked at it. He's got it all right. AB had averaged.
I'm on the wrong slide.
Yeah.
AB averaged third place, and Gannon Bird averaged 4.1. So,
okay.
I mean.
So you won by one place.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then Ezra, your guy, averaged 27.5. So this is actually a good week for him.
Gosh, I'm telling you, if
you're the worst.
No, that was not a bad pick. It was a good pick. That was just good performance by Ezra.
Gannon moved up, I think, 15 spots on Sunday. So,
hey man,
yeah, I felt it.
All three of these dudes surprised
pretty
me
good.
with their performances because
pretty good.
Going into last week, I was for sure that one of these two kids was going to struggle.
They did. They finished 10th.
Yeah, still not outside.
That's where we're at.
10.
That's where we're
crazy.
at. It was their worst finish of the season.
Yeah, man.
Insane. All right, let's take a peek here at our sleepers. Ooh, Ronnie, Alden Harris, Smitty, Ezra Robinson, and I chose Cole Radalin after all was said and done. Ooh, Alden gives Ronnie the fat red, 42nd place, finished, made the cut, but was very last of the cut. Smitty chose Ezra, who had multiple chances, but that dude looked like he was having zero fun the last two rounds. Wish he was just a little bit happier, and maybe just happy he's there. And Cole Radalin, 26, got me the yellow, but Smitty now 2 green checks.
Well, it's a no-brainer that my sleeper was the top dog. Like you said, this dude had an opportunity to win it coming down the stretch. And you get the yellow for Cole. Obviously, he's averaging 16th place. He finished 26, so that's only 10 worse. And Alden probably would have been worse than 42nd had there been more than 42 people playing on Sunday. He was struggling. His average finish is 30th, so he was 12 worse than normal.
Yeah.
Pretty good that all of our sleepers made the cut, though. I mean, that was a tough cut.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's 2 categories in a row where we all did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we go.
Somebody did the best. Sorry.
And let's look at our shines.
You're right. They did on this one, too.
Ronnie, Niklas, Smitty, Rick, and we've already talked about Casey this week. I kind of got the short end of the stick. Still, I think a very solid pick for me. But after all was said and done, Ronnie was second. Smitty's guy got third. And then we had Casey's best round ever, or best major ever, got 14 and still got me a red. That son of a gun. Finger game.
Once again, man, 3 fantastic picks. I mean, Ronnie and I were going at it as Nicholas was coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
We were talking smack back and forth, of course. So that was fun. But dude, I almost gave you the green just because, but since it was shine, we have to go through performed who got the closest to the win. But yeah, that's the pick of the year so far, Lucas.
Collectively, how about collectively these 9 picks? Clearly our best effort as a group.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just because I did better than normal. It's you guys do fine.
You still got 2 reds. I mean,
I still can't get up to your level, but it was better. I'm getting closer.
the suck wasn't as sucky.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
All
a good
right.
week for us. That's fun. I love that part.
I do too. And so I think we should definitely make our picks now for Dynamic Disc Open. Let's do our stink, our shine, our sleeper. Who wants to lead us off today?
3 green,
Ready?
baby.
All
3
right.
green.
2 green.
2 green.
2 green. So my bad. 2 green.
Very close. If Nicholas
green this
misses
week.
that putt, you guys are both getting greens.
Smitty could have had a sweep. Man, great putt, Nick, wherever you're at. Great putt.
I'm sure he's watching.
I'm sure he's watching too.
All right. This week, I'm going to go shine first. This is one of my dudes, man. I've picked him before.
Oh, hopefully it's not the same as me.
Calvin.
We're safe.
No, I'm safe. So, I mean, this guy has been having one heck of a year. He hadn't won, kind of quiet, but he can bomb. This course suits him. He's fantastic, and you can play this tournament without needing a sidearm.
Yeah. Lucas, who you got?
For me, I got someone in the trilogy lineup that has a real shot here. He's played this tournament well in the past, and he sure does like first downs. Matty O! That's my shine this week.
I don't hate it. I know he's still a little bit banged up. I actually thought about Matty this week, but I'm gonna just fade him a little, I guess, because of the length of the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna actually ride Lucas's momentum a little from last week with a surprise shine. Maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. This guy's got a good track record at the golf course. He throws it forever. He's kind of on the uptick a little bit this year, a couple weeks off of a really good finish in Jonesboro. I'm going to go with Benjamin Callaway.
That's a bold pick.
It's very bold. And
that is a bold pick.
I just want you to know, Ronnie, even when it's a shine and you do well, if it doesn't matter. They gotta win.
Calling it. I'm calling it right now. Benjamin Callaway gets his first professional win on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this week.
Yeah. Wow.
You want to put something on the line?
I got a Dr. Pepper for it.
I'm in.
I don't want anything. I do want to thank everyone, though. I had so many messages last week after my Casey White pick, after he was ahead after the first round, and then after the second round, I got more messages. And thank you all. It just was cool. Some people that reached out that I didn't even know watched the podcast. So really, really appreciate that. That was really fun. That's a bold pick, Ronnie. Sorry, I
have a feeling, man.
I like
the results. The name just popped right off the sheet at me. I think he's going to do it, man. I'm calling it right now that he's going to get his first Pro Tour win this week.
That's a bold pick, but it's not a Casey White. this guy could win.
Yeah. Lucas, you're up. Who you got? Where are you going?
Let's go sleeper. This is a real sleeper, and 100% the way that I roll is looking at last year's results, seeing who that's kind of sticks up for me, and it's going to be Evan Smith. Yeah, this.
Which one is that?
Good tournament last year. I think he's going to do well this year just because of that. He plays this course well, and honestly, when it's a sleeper, you need to move up. So if he has a decent tournament, I should probably get some spots.
I'll only allow you to pick him if you can pick him out in a lineup.
That's one of those 3 dudes we don't know.
I know. I'm going to walk up to a couple of those guys and say, "What's your name again?" And then follow his card this weekend.
Just say Evan or Scott, and it's likely to be one of them.
So you're not picking him to do awesome. You're picking him to do better than normal.
Exactly.
Joe.
I think that's the way to play this.
That is the way to play.
I'm gonna go next.
I saw a cupcake pick before, Smitty.
Yeah. We've seen the strategy work previously. I'm actually going to do a little bit of both here.
We got the same guy.
I'm going to pick a guy who has not played very well this season, outside of one event. A guy that has played well, historically played very well on this golf course, and he's one of my favorite players. I'm going to take the Goose. Give me Goose Gossage.
Okay. You guys both got him?
Well, I might switch.
You can't.
Can't do that.
Why not?
No,
Okay.
Smitty.
I got the Goose. Goose is loose. All the same reasons Ronnie has. This dude about won a world title here. This guy throws a country mile.
He does
The
have good
Goose.
memories here, and
And
he's one that's really low this year as far as his average finish. So that's a really solid pick. I hate it. I hate that it's that good. I hate that it's that good.
he's going to beat the socks off of Scott Evans.
Hey, don't you dare mess up his name. We're going to put a picture up here on the thumbnail so we all know him. Just his big face.
Put him with a pillow, sleeping. There you go. All right.
All right, Ronnie. Who's your stink?
On with the stink. Guy I don't like to root against. I'm not going to be rooting against him this week, but he hasn't really played very well there since the last time I played there. I'm going to take Paul Ulibarri.
All right.
I like that pick. It's a big course.
Yep.
It's a good pick.
Yep. Can't say anything.
What's his average finish has got to be top 20 though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's
having a really good year.
11th, 12th, 13th, something like that in the points. So he's Paul's played really well this year. Kind of a resurgence.
Yeah. Again, resurgence because he was candidate for player of the year or not player of the year, most improved last year or something. So
yeah,
you want to go, Lucas, or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. I'm like Ronnie. I don't want to root against this guy, but at some point he's got to tank. He's been at the top so many times this year. Joey Buckets. I don't know why I'm going. I'm playing Lucas's game of just trying to get somebody who's been finishing high, and I just think at some point this guy's got to have a bad tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, for me, when we did surprises a little while ago, he's my top surprise of the year. Just how consistent he's been. It's pretty impressive. So that's a good pick.
We didn't even talk about him earlier, and he was lead card.
I know, and he had a really unfortunate putt at the very end that cost him quite a bit of money. Did spit out.
Yep.
So his baskets.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to clear the way for the champion win, so I think he rushed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about Joey at all, and that dude was in the mix all the way till late on Sunday.
He was. Yeah, so it's hard to say that he's gonna stink, but maybe he doesn't have the biggest arm, so probably a course that may not suit him as well. So probably a good pick, Smitty. And I'm gonna go for my stink, someone that I don't think throws far. Well, as far as a lot of them, he still bombs. He's a pro, right? He's a pro. But I'm going Isaac Robinson. I just don't think this suits him. This course, I don't think he's going to do well. He didn't do well last year, and that's what I judge everything on. So
I don't think
congratulations,
either.
Welcome back.
Could be your best finish of the year, buddy. You're welcome.
Well, he hasn't had a lot of strong finishes, so that's
shocking.
pretty tough pick. Yeah, it is shocking how much he's struggling.
Yeah. But
After what we saw him do the second half of last year, it's shocking. He looked unbeatable at times. Weird.
Yeah, I hope he shreds since Lucas picked him, and because I like watching him.
Usually I pick people just to try to help them out. Little boost to the game. If I pick you as a stink, you're welcome.
This could be the week that a stink wins.
All right. Well, let's jump into our Survivor League. We had a pretty good week for our league because last time there was like only 5 players left after the first round, and we did a little bit better this time. So let's take a peek here. Ooh, Survivor League 2.0. Our first week, we had quite a bit of greens here, all picking the same player, and that was us win dummies. We three got through with Ricky Wysocki. So did Schmidt. So did Cooey. So did Keeney. So good on us for getting through. Oh, got some more greens. Nick and Blake both chose Matteo. Good picks.
What a final round he had. Saved him.
Yep. I did get a message from Blake saying, thank God for his final round. And who do we got here? Another green. Ed chose Chris Dickerson. And Ed was there scorekeeping. Probably got to see Chris in person. And Ed did tell me before he left that he was going to try to put some scores in to help Dickerson get to this place.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
And Alexis chose Vinny and Vinny with the top 15. Schaefer chose Anthony Barella. Top 10 finish for him. Tyson chose Gannon Burr. Another top 10. And, one more. Patsy, our defending champion, chose Nick, and Nick got second. She knows how to pick him.
She's a little too good at this.
But we did have some players.
I feel like I'm getting hustled just a little bit.
I did too. And the way she talks about it, I'm just lucky. You know, like there's more than that. All right, we did have someone that's going to be leaving us, and it's going to be Law. Isaac Robinson didn't quite make it. And then we have one other person leaving us, and that's Sean, who chose Corey Ellis. And he messaged me directly after Corey DNF'd and said, well, this was fun.
Here's what he messaged me. He said, so I signed up for Survivor League. I picked Corey Ellis with the thought of saving better players for future weeks. FYI, that's a bad idea. He DNF'd. With my pick, I'm basically the Lucas Deal of Survivor League.
That's great.
He actually may have said something like that to me, too. That's funny.
That's so good.
Well, congratulations for the terrible pick, Sean. Sorry that I rubbed off on you there. But yeah, you definitely are the Lucas Deal of Survivor League. But hey, I have made it past the first round, and I'm telling you what, it feels good here. It feels real good. But let's talk about our picks for the Survivor League for Dynamic Disc Open. I'll go ahead and go first because I know your guys's. You guys don't know mine. Actually, I'm going to save it till the very end. Smitty,
are we giving ours?
Yeah, because everyone else has got theirs in.
Oh, they're all in.
They're all in.
Okay. All right. Told Ronnie earlier who I was going to go with.
You already forgot?
Kind of. I think I know. I don't want to go back on what I said.
I didn't forget.
All right, go ahead, Ronnie, while he does his research.
I remember. I'm going Vinny.
Yeah.
I'm going Calvin.
All right.
Well, you're nothing if you don't learn from your mistakes, right? And during the end of the first Survivor League, I lost without ever using Anthony Barella, who's, as we've stated several times, hasn't missed the top 10 all season. I will not make that mistake this time. And even though he has a terrible track record at Dynamic Disc Open, which seems odd, I am going to use Anthony Barella in this spot for my Survivor.
All right.
No Ben Calloway?
Yeah, no Ben Calloway.
I'm saving it. I'm saving it.
Okay, I see. Well, let's look at our picks for this week. So
what about you?
Well, you'll see it here.
All right.
So a lot of people did go with Vinny. Smitty did, Schmidt did, Schaefer did, Keeney did, and Patsy did. So you should feel good that Patsy
I'm
did.
safe.
You're golden.
I'm safe.
You're golden. You're golden.
And Ronnie, a couple people went with Anthony Barilla. Blake did, and so did Alexis. Matty O, Cooey, and Ed both went Matty O. Rick with Nick and Tyson. And we know Rick plays Dynamic Disc Open very well. Oh, here we go. Lucas's pick coming in right now. Gannon Burr hasn't finished outside the top 10 until right now. All right. Oh, and then, there's no other picks. Let's go back because the other two are out. So that's where we sit. Whew. Can't wait.
Wide range. That's a wide range of people. We had a wide range the first week and a wide range this week. So it's good to see not everybody picking the same guy.
Yeah, it's exciting. All right,
fun, man.
Yeah, this is fun. I love these picks. I love how interactive people are getting with it too. And please comment on these podcasts. We love hearing from you. We all read them. It's a lot of fun for us to read those comments, and especially when you're talking trash to us, we love that too. All right, well, fellas, I think we're gonna wrap things up, head into the 19th hole. But before we do, what kind of shout outs do we have for the week? Smitty, anything from you?
Yeah, man, I can't wait to take Landon and go down to Emporia. I'm so excited just to see his reaction when he sees somebody who really throw far, and it's going to be great. And I'm excited to see if there's any kind of a crowd there, because the crowds have really been, almost nothing at some of these events. And Dynamic Disc Open has a long history of having a lot of crowds. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. And yeah, no big shout outs, I guess.
All right.
Oh,
still a shout out.
What about my guy? I'm ready to watch my guy shredded at the DDO as well, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Might have a couple folks out there on Saturday to help cheer me on, which I mean, the support would be fantastic, right? My shout out, I got a couple. One, all the folks at the tournament we went to. You were there too, Lucas. We had multiple people coming up talking about the podcast, talking about the pick segment. Some guys I didn't know at all, asking how to find the podcast. So I mean, it's humbling for sure that we are providing some kind of entertainment to folks, even as doofy as we think we are sometimes. So trust me, it's very appreciated by everyone who does that. So it is humbling. And I did finally. Oh, where's it at? I got me one of these.
Oh.
Can't see it, but that says event champion, by the way.
Well played.
We made it happen out there Saturday. And then my last shout out goes to my buddy Kevin Babbitt, playing in the Pro Tour up there at DDO. I would love nothing more than to see 55-year-old Kevin Babbitt find his way into the mix. Man, that would be Emporia guy. It would be awesome. So Rooting for you, Kevin. Go get him, buddy.
He told me his goal is to have fun. So
I bet he manages that.
maybe. He played really well in Manhattan. He made a lot of fantastic putts, and of course, he's the king of the flex shot. There's nobody that throws them better that I've ever seen. Controlled flex, so that won't be too useful at the Emporia Country Club, but it was sure useful at Tuttle Creek. So, yeah, I got to play both rounds with him, so it was fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. He can putt as good as anybody out there, and if the wind blows, I'm just saying, it'll level the playing field just a little bit.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I have a few shout outs as well. The Beatrice boys, like Ronnie mentioned, we went up and played a tournament in Garden City, and they had their biggest turnout they've ever had there. So shout out to them for continuing to grow the sport out there in Garden City. Also, another shout out, Smitty mentioned this gentleman last week, but Tyson Jones, you're still in our thoughts, man. I know he's still battling. He's still in the hospital, and we're thinking about you, dude, and hoping you get a speedy recovery and get answers to a lot of the questions that you're having right now. So can't imagine what you're going through, dude.
Yes, crazy situation.
No.
Yep. All right. Well, let's wrap it up with what we feel was the shot of the tournament. And until next time, hope you have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Later.
Peace.
Oh, that's like a $1,200 spit out.
That's brutal.
But that doesn't matter right now. The story is this man, Andrew Presnell's done it.
Unbelievable.
Nothing to be salty
There's
about.
Big Brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 PDJ Champions Cup presented by Bushnell winner, Andrew Presnell.